Well now, are you ready for the great unboxing or unpackaging, the unamazoning of a new book? Probably Native American literature, I sure hope so. Grab my scissors and hope I don't cut my fingers off. Gotta set this down. Hang on. What is it? What is it? What is it? Ooh. Calling for a Blanket Dance by Oscar Hokeah. Neato. I wonder what tribe he is. A novel. Stunning. Susan Power, author of The Grass Dancer. Ooh, let's open her up and see what we got here. Victor Singing Eagle, Sisseton, Wahpeton College. Yeah, I know. Shut up. No longer the property of Green County Library. It says here, the characters that populate Calling for a Blanket Dance are real, amazing, vulnerable, and beautiful. Oscar Hokeah weaves a tale that is unforgettable and fortifying. Oscar Hokeah's electric debut takes us into the life of Ever Gaismau Saddle, whose family is part Mexican, part Native American, is determined to hold on to their community despite obstacles everywhere they turn. Ever's father is injured in the hands of a corrupt police on the border when he goes to visit family in Mexico, while his mother struggles both to keep her job and care for her husband. And young Ever is lost and angry at all that he doesn't understand, at the world that seems to undermine his sense of safety. Ever's relatives all have ideas about who he is and who he should be. His Cherokee grandmother, knowing the importance of proximity, urges the family to move across Oklahoma to be near her, while his grandfather, watching their traditions slip away, tries to reunite Ever with his heritage through traditional gourd dances. Through it all, every relative wants the same: to remind Ever of the rich and supportive communities that surround him. Focus. There to hold him tight and forever to learn to take the strength given to him to save not only himself but also the next generation. How will this young man visualize a place for himself when the world hasn't made room for him to start with? Honest, heartbreaking, and ultimately uplifting. Calling for a blanket dance is the story of how Ever Gaimau Saddle finds his way home. What an interesting name, Gaimau Saddle. Here's a picture of him right here, the author. Ugh. There he is. Ta-da! It says, Oscar Hokeah is a citizen of the Cherokee Nation and the Kiowa tribe of Oklahoma on his mother's side and Mexican on his father's side. He holds an MA in English with a concentration on Native American literature from the University of Oklahoma. Ooh, sounds like me. A BFA in creative writing from the Institute of American Indian Arts. He is a recipient of the Truman Capote Scholarship through IAIA and a winner of Native American Writer Award from Taos Writers Conference. His short stories have been published in the South Dakota Review, American Short Fiction, Yellow Medicine Review, Surreal South, Red Ink Magazine. He works with Indian Child Welfare in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. You can find him at OscarHokeah.com. You ready to do some real reading? Let's have a quick look. I'm not going to read the whole thing, of course not. Just want to have a quick peek. Calling for a Blanket Dance. I'm going to start right here. It says Lena Stop, 1976. I always told Turtle when I was raising her, if a man acts like a child, then send him back to his IG and let her straighten him out. She hardly ever listened to me. Mostly she would make a sour face and turn away. But when things got bad with Everardo, she finally did. Turtle wasn't much for talking, but her emotions barked like a blue tick. You could tell. And sometimes I'd say things like, just because you look more Kiowa doesn't mean you can forget your Cherokee. And she'd scrunch her brow. I'd throw back my head and laugh a good one. Kla, mostly, I like to tease her. Oh, dang it. My hands, I'm getting arthritis or something. I like to tease her about Everardo. The last time he stayed out all night, I told her, that's what you get for marrying a squawney. She'd driven around Lawton like a skeely on a broomstick and found Everardo at her cousin's house, half drunk and usatle. She dragged him into the back seat of her car, let him pass out next to Ever. He was just 6 months old by then, and drove south out of Oklahoma. She headed across Texas and down into Mexico. Come to find out, Everardo hadn't seen his parents in over 10 years. Turtle had just gotten her per cap money from the Kiowa tribe, $1,500. She meant for all that Audaila to pull double duty, fixing Everardo and getting her a home. Aldama, Chihuahua, was filled with desert and large mountain chains, unlike Lawton, which was flatter than the back of my head. There was Mount Scott just north of Lawton, but it looked more like a groundhog had dug up a mound of dirt out of the southern plains. Turtle told me how it wasn't even a real mountain compared to the ones in Chihuahua. As they drove into his hometown, Everardo's eyes finally popped open with the familiar sign of dirt kicking up underneath the car. It sobered him instantly. Turtle said his face aged backwards 20 years as they drove up to his parents' house. His mother, Lucia, had no idea her skinny son was about to arrive. I shouldn't be like that. He wasn't skinny, just a selfish Okseni. But when Lucia opened the front door to find an older version of her baby boy, she embraced him with such a long hug that when she let go, he was 5 years old again. Ooh, I'm going to stop it right there because we already went 8 minutes and 5 seconds. This is not too bad. Boy's drunk. He gets picked up by a girl and they drive from Oklahoma down into Mexico and she takes him home to his mom. It's already starting to get interesting. And I imagine that this book, when I was reading the front jacket, said something about a homecoming and being retaught what it's like to be an Indian. You're going to see this again and again in Native American literature. Or I should just say First Nations literature. Because we go all the way up from the tip of Alaska down to the tip of Tierra del Fuego. That includes Mexico and points south. And the United States and points north, our beloved cousins up in Canada. Well, that's why I like to call it native literature. But I'm going off on a ridiculous tangent. And my voice is starting to go. And I've got to go teach my trucking class in a few minutes. What time is it? I gotta hurry. All right, quick. Here's my dumb little spiel. That is, when I first walked in, you saw me wearing this hat, which I probably lost. Nope, here it is right here. Dysfunctional veteran. Leave me alone. Native American veteran. What the heck does this have to do with Native American literature? Well, I kind of gave you a little hint by reading that section of the book, did I not? That is, a lot of times when we natives, well, let me back up and slow down. We natives, of all the different ethnic groups in the Americas, have the highest enlistment and service rate in the military. We serve our nation proudly and faithfully and honorably. Think of all the different groups, ethnic groups, whatever you want to say, race, ethnicities. We have the highest enlistment rate, the highest service rate to our country. What does that tell you? Well, it tells you a couple things. Well, first, we go off, serve our country, we come home, and we're thrown off spiritually. I wish there was a way I could explain this, but take myself for example. I'm so sick of saying me, I all the time. But when I first got out of the military, I was a mess. And the same thing with Tayo in the book. Where is it? Ceremony. Never mind. I don't feel like looking for it. Leslie Marmon Silko's Ceremony. And in Scott Momaday's House Made of Dawn. You're going to keep seeing this over and over and over again in all these books where natives are talking about coming home and they're refining, rediscovering their ancestry, their culture, and it heals them. This is often the case with those of us who have served in the military. We come home with what nowadays is called PTSD. In the old days, they called it shell shock or something like that. But we come home and our spirits have been scrambled up or shattered, or we've been severed from our ancient past, our traditions, and we come back and we're all sick. Sick in the head, and sick in the heart, sick in the mind, sick in the spirit, whatever you want to say, sick in the body. And we got to get doctored. So that's my main story, and I'm sticking with it for now. I'm going to knock it off there, and I remind you to go back, have a look at our lesson plan. It says I'm supposed to walk you through read, listen, tell. So I'm going to do that in a separate video because I've already gone 12 minutes and 16 seconds. Thanks again. Talk to you later.